Please excuse the I just woke up like this hair and attitude, but I feel inclined to sit with myself here, to have a conversation with myself, to share authentically what is going on in me. So we can find how we're all actually connected and how we're not so different from each other than we think, right? I've had many conversations this week, especially where the ones who I speak with, they're surprised at all of the things that I'm struggling with. They are, you know, they didn't see me as somebody who struggles with, especially lately, right? I've been experiencing a lot of frustration and anger and maybe resentment too. But my frustration, my anger, my resentment, it doesn't come out, and it's not being shown the same way that many people expect frustration, resentment, and anger to come out at, right? They imagine you to be yelling, to be like hot, to be like loud, reactive, things like this. And yes, those things, they do still happen. Like I am not a saint. I am not this, like, I don't know what that is. Like, do not put me on a pedestal. I speak on my channels, I speak on my social media, I speak so much about embodiment, about healing, about just allowing yourself to feel like, and don't get me wrong, that does not mean that I am not feeling anger, frustration, resentment, sadness. Like, I have the full spectrum range of emotions. It's not even just half, it's like the full spectrum. And then some things over here, it's like, what is even this feeling? I have it all. That's exactly why I talk about what I talk about. That's why I talk about expressing it, not only just in the physical realm, but in like the mental and the emotional. Like, you can't just keep pushing down your emotions and the things, and you can't like gaslight yourself into saying, oh, I'm not affected by it. It's not like, no, it will come up one way or another, trust me. And I know this because when I was younger, I used to hide my emotions. I used to mask the emotions, or I used to bottle them down. I pushed it away, like, because I didn't know how to deal with them. I was like, well, I don't know what to do. I'm just not going to do it. Boop, put it over there. Don't deal with it. But over time, it builds up. It's like a volcano. The pressure is building. The pressure is building. The heat is rising. Eventually, everything comes up. If you don't have a hold on it, if you're not, over time, right, as the pressure is building, as the heat is rising, if you're not finding ways to let that out, let that pressure out, let that heat dissipate, it's gonna blow up big eventually. I've learned this many times. I would blow up. I was so out of control with my emotions. That's why I'm talking about it now. How do we come back into the body? How do we not let the emotions take us for a ride, right? That's not to say that we're not acknowledging that we have the emotions. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of emotions. I have a lot of big emotions too. That's why I do so much self-care. That's why I'm at the gym blowing off the steam. That's why I'm sitting. That's why I'm meditating. That's why I'm talking to people. That's why I'm listening to myself. I'm being with myself, because there's so much going on inside that not a lot of people are seeing. You don't see that on the inside. On the outside, you're looking at me, how I'm presenting physically. You're looking at my social media. You're like, oh, well, she's got all her stuff figured out. Look, she's so calm. She's so happy. She's that. Not all the time. No, I am not happy all the time. I am not vibrating up here all the time. That is not possible. Nobody is. We're just not being honest. We're not showing each other the depths of our emotions. We have our peaks, we have our valleys. we're all up in all around everything all the time. But this little snippet that we see of somebody's life on social media, you're only seeing the peaks. That's not reality. So let's just like pause that and be honest with at least yourself. Even if you're gonna share on social media the highlights and that, of course we're not trying to create, we want to share the positive things, right? I want to talk about all of my successes, all of the good things. Why do I want to highlight all the bad things that are happening? I don't want to do that. I don't want to put so much focus on the bad things, but that's not saying, right? That's not saying that they don't exist. You have to acknowledge them still. Because if you don't acknowledge them still, that's where it becomes toxic positivity. We don't want toxic positivity. Toxic positivity is when you're pretending like everything's okay. You refuse to acknowledge that. You're also feeding that volcano, and eventually it's going to come up. It's going to blow up, whether it's anger or fear or sadness or whatever emotion you're not acknowledging. And you're not even only experiencing the emotions in the mental realm, you're experiencing them in your body. Your body is the key to expressing those emotions, right? But so many of us are not connected to our body. We're living in the mental realm. We're thinking about things. When we have emotions that we want to process, a lot of us, we're going to the therapist and we're talking about the emotions, which is good. Don't get me wrong. Talking about the emotions, getting it out there is great. But also, your body needs to process those same emotions. Your body holds anger. Your body holds sadness. How is your body releasing that? When you're speaking, you're doing the mental, like getting the emotions out. When you do something physical, that's how you get the physical out. It's like your body needs to release and express those emotions just like your mind does. And I'll add another layer to it. There's a little bit more. It's not just the visible physical body that we're dealing with. We have an energetic body. It's like your aura that is surrounding your body, right? Things can get stuck in that too. So you have to clear your mind, your emotions, your body, and your energy body, because the energy body around, that's what connects the layers of yourself, right? You have a body, you have a brain, you have emotions, but you are not the body. You are not your brain. You are not your emotions. What are you then? These are the deeper questions that I love asking, that I love talking about. But I think before we go, before we get ahead of ourselves talking about the nature of life, the I am, like connecting with things beyond like this realm, let's first focus on coming back right here into the body. Because if you're not connected, if you're not in sync with your mind and your body, you're not going to be aligned to be able to connect with all the things that spirituality and some religions talk about, right? The very beginning of that, you need to come back into your body. That's what I'm preaching to you. I don't know how many different times I'm going to say the same thing. We're just going to go down this loop. And so yeah, I love talking about embodiment, but not just because of healing. It's a huge part of healing, yes, and absolutely. I want you to be embodied, to experience deep healing for yourself. But once you start to heal, once you start to become in the body, other doors are going to open. And I'm not going to tell you what those doors are right now because that's for a later future thing, but that is the beginning. That is just the beginning of it all. That is how you grow, not only